Hello, Sister Leader, and welcome back to Inspired Well-Minded Woman podcast. I'm Dr. Denise, your wellness mindset and resilience coach. Today, we're discussing a topic that resonates with many of us, and that is overcoming the procrastination that prevents us from being our true best self. So, have you ever felt the pressure of everything just slipping away? Like you're losing control of the areas of your life that matter most to you. Maybe it starts with one thing like a skipped workout or a stressful day that leads to emotional eating, or a busy schedule that perhaps causes you to put self-care at the bottom of your list. Well, then before you know it, a week has gone by, a month has gone by, and you're wondering how in the hell did things get so bad again? Well, do you ever find yourself saying, I'll start again tomorrow? And then tomorrow turns into next week, next month, and then before you know, the whole year has passed. And then when you think about getting back on track, you feel like the frustration of knowing what you need to do, but you feel also overwhelmed, but not quite sure of how to get back on track or even where to begin. So you just keep feeling stuck, and that overwhelming feeling of not being able to move forward, even though you really, really desire to. Well, studies have shown that studies indicate that procrastination leads to increased stress, anxiety, and a decline in overall performance and well-being. There's about, I believe the study showed that about 20 to 25% of adult Americans alone struggle with chronic procrastination. So I want to unpack how procrastination can really impact our lives if we don't recognize the habit that we have allowed to seep in and take control of our lives, and just keep making excuses after excuses for it without even recognizing that so much time has lapsed and that you may be so far off track that you don't even realize it. And it is overwhelming trying to get back into the swing of things and putting your life first and making yourself a priority. So if you would just reflect over the past 6 to 12 months in your life, how has procrastination impacted you? How has it impacted your life? Is it your physical health, your mental health, or some other area of your wellness that you've let slip and that you struggle to pick up those pieces? Well, maybe the real question here should be, how much longer are you going to allow procrastination to rob you of the confidence that you need to walk in your full potential? That's a question I actually had to ask myself recently, and it's been a heck of several months for me. It's been a challenging year for me. I would just admit that. And I've had to ask myself, how much longer am I, a wellness mindset resilience coach of all people, gonna allow procrastination to rob me of who I know I want to be? That's going to rob me and delay the purpose that I'm sent here, or that I'm on this path to fulfill, and the quality of life that I have worked so hard to achieve. And because of the year that I've had, because of these past several months, that it's not something I could have planned for, right? But things happen. And so I had to ask that, how much longer am I going to tolerate it? And so I pose that question to you as well. How much longer are you going to tolerate it in your life? I can't answer that for you. Only you can answer that for you. Your mate can't answer that for you. Only you can. No one can answer that for you but yourself. And so sometimes we have to have that reality check and that tough conversation with ourselves to say enough, to say, yeah, I know I dropped the ball on my life. And so, and be willing to pick up those pieces, right? But the first thing is to acknowledge that you have postponed a lot of things in your life. And so now procrastination has set in like almost like a permanent fixture. But guess what? If you let it slip in, because procrastination is something you've done, no one else has done it, right? And only you can change it. So I just want to let you know that as you answer that question, be real with yourself. And I understand it because I've been there too, where, like I said, it's been a trying last several months for me. And I had to ask myself that question. So there was a time where I felt completely off track, that everything I had worked for, my fitness goals, completely off track. Like, oh my God, it's so it's so difficult for me to explain how challenging it has been, especially when my physical wellness has been challenged, because that is one of the main foundations of me being the best version of myself, of me being able to show up. And I say that because physical exercise, let me just say exercise, plays a huge role in my physical health, my mental health, and how I am able to show up as my best self. So that is something that I've let slip this year. And like I said, after going through a challenging recovery, like I had surgery several months back, and an unexpected life event that happened several months after that, it was like, oh my goodness, right? So some things in life happens that we can plan for, and there's some things that we just cannot. But if we're constantly doing the work on ourselves and we know what we want, then excuse me, when these life events happen, it's easy for you to get back on track when you find yourself off routine. See, I found myself so far off my routine, and then my habits have changed, and the habits that used to keep me grounded were now compromised. Like I wasn't doing them anymore. And I to be honest with you, I wasn't really feeling like myself. There was a time, oh my goodness, I remember waking up and going through days saying something's different. What is off? And really asking myself that same question of what's going off? Why did it happen? Right? I had to ask myself why and trace it back, because it was so out of character for me that I had to recognize, when did it stop? What was the cause? Why did it go on as long as it has? To the point that I even feel like a different person. I don't even feel like myself anymore. And so I had to come to terms with that. And sometimes, we get so caught up being busy in life that we ignore those things, right? Because we figure that we always have time to get back on track, to prioritize ourselves. And that's not always true. So I believe in practicing what I preach. And so what I started to do to get back on track was take small steps forward. Because here's the thing, right? With me having surgery that was supposed to take, now the surgery I had, I'm just going to share it, right? I had cataract extraction, and where it usually takes people a week or so to get back on track. And I had done my research prior to the surgeries. And I would say I met people also who had them. I talked to them, what was their experience, and everyone I had spoken to, had good results, was back, at their regular lives within 10 days. And it was good. I was getting good feedback before I had my procedure done, and I had done my research, and the research I had that people were, returning to their normal lives within 10 days, 2 weeks or less. And then here I am after my procedure. It took me 6 months to recover. And this is the thing that was very important for me to identify, that the other people that I spoke to, their journey isn't mine. Their life isn't mine. Right. But I use their journey, their experience with this surgery as a as some type of what can I say? As the typical normal result that people would have when they go through this surgery, because even in my research the results were the same. All majority of the feedback that I read were people who were glad that they had the surgery. It improved their vision and they were able to go on with their lives, right? And I also read how they struggled and things that they were experiencing before they had the surgery. Well, and some of the things that they had experiencing, so was I. But think about it. When you go in to have an outpatient procedure and the people you've spoken to tell you, oh yeah, in less than 2 weeks I was back at it, or and that is typical, right? Then to find out when it's your turn, as it was my turn, 6 months. 6 months it took me to recover, and here's why. Because I know you're probably listening thinking, well, if it's typically 2 weeks or less, why did it take me 6 months, right? Because everybody's different. Our bodies are different. The way we heal and the things we experience is different. We know this. So what had happened in my case was I became extremely light sensitive. And I'm going to be honest, even being here with you today with the lights here in the studio, it also affects my vision. And I'm talking not just studio lights or lights from a computer. I'm talking about regular daylight was affecting my vision. And it took me 6 months to be able to handle just regular everyday daylight again, because I had to shut down. It was so painful. Like, someone had told me that they used to use light as a form of torture. Oh my goodness. I couldn't understand why when I heard and learned about that, how they used to use light as torture many, many years ago. But I understand now, because what I went through trying to recover was excruciating. To just open your eyes inside of a building, inside of your home, and you have to put on shades just to function, right? So it took me that long to recover. And so when I knew that when I asked people about their experience, that's just their experience, something for me to draw on to use as, okay, what's typical, but you never know what your situation is going to be. And so now that's 6 months. 6 months. I can't work out the way that I normally would. I couldn't prepare my meals at the scale in which I would to stay on track. And then guess what happened? Depression set in. Situational depression. Now that is self-diagnosed, because all I could really do was lay down with a towel over my eyes to block out as much light as possible, because even closing my eyes naturally wasn't enough to block out the light. I know it sounds strange, but I experienced that. And sometimes, I still experience some sensitivity, but I do my best to manage my eyesight, my vision better now that I know that it could potentially happen, and I make the adjustment. However, I'm not going to let it prevent me from coming out here and sharing value with you and sharing my wisdom of experience and everything that I know and learned throughout the years through my own journey, and to share that with you. So I just have to manage that well and make sure I stick to what needs to get done, and just not be in front of computer lights and extra bright lights for a long extended period of time. So that is what threw me off track for so long, right? And of course, I felt down and out, and I didn't realize that, the situational depression that I was feeling at the time was that. It wasn't until months later that I realized I think I was depressed during that time, because I couldn't function. My life was just completely changed, right? So I'm grateful for the people who were here, my friend who came to support and drive me where I needed to go and make sure, that I was good. And thank goodness that, I have a friend like that who showed up for me, because I didn't know that I would have needed that. And I literally would have been healing and struggling on my own, thinking that my experience was kind of normal. But thank goodness, right? I would say, things work out the way that they should, um, even when we don't realize that we needed the help and the support. So I'm grateful for that. Now, having said all that and having my life, my routines, my habits changed, right? Because things about me and my well being, my vision changed in a way that I could not have even expected. But thank goodness that when I was going through my process, that the surgeon had shared with me, sometimes it takes people 6 months to heal. Now, if you're a situation where you may need cataract extraction, then you may not know, or you may not find it readily available in your research, that sometimes it could take up to 6 months. Well, hello, I'm telling you, I was one of those people who experienced that. I don't wish it on you or anybody else, because especially if it's due to light sensitivity. But my goodness, it was definitely a difficult journey for me. And so that is what threw me off my routines. That is what got me out of the healthy habits, just laying down with my eyes covered day after day after day for weeks and months on end, until I was able to function. And then after that, like I said, there was another life event that came up. It was a joyful event, but it was still, planned last minute. I think we had like maybe 4 to 6 weeks to all get on board, but it happens, right? Life happens. It's not waiting for us to grow up or for things to be perfect. Life just happens, and we have to deal with it as things come. So, like I said, I believe in practicing what I preach. And so I started taking those small steps to get back on track, right? But then, guess what? I had another accident. I had an accident. I shouldn't say another accident. I had an accident, which is another setback that, if I had the wrong attitude, it could hinder my progress. It could prevent me from going further. And the accident I had was probably about four weeks ago. I'm still recovering from that accident, but I'm determined to not let my mind get caught up in a negative loop of excuses about pain and aches from this fall that I had. Okay. And just focus my mind on what it is that I can do. Because believe me, it is very frustrating for me knowing where I want to be, knowing what that life that I strive to live, that person I strive to become, lives in my mind. However, I realize that setbacks are also part of the journey, and that they come to test our resilience. Because the average person, and I have said this to my personal trainer, I've said this to people around me. Okay. And I'm even in discomfort and pain while I'm here with you. Right. However, another person who would have taken the fall the way that I did would have shut everything down, because it was debilitating. Like, it was so bad. And I'm still, like I said, I'm still recovering now, but these things happen. Right. And so with that, it's like we have a choice. No matter what happens to our bodies or what we experience, we still have a choice to either let that situation dictate how we move forward in living. Are we going to settle for that pain, that suffering, and settle for a lower level quality of life? Or are we going to say, no, enough. I am going to do what is necessary, no matter what, to keep moving forward. And so I want you to believe in yourself and to be more determined that no matter how small a step forward that you take, the key is to keep moving forward. Because if I could have endured what I have done this very year throughout the several months, you recover from one, you have a beautiful life event, you get back on track, you're going forward, and all of a sudden, boom, something that, you end up in the hospital. Luckily for me, I didn't break anything, but the recovery, the injuries, the pain of that is still felt. And I'm not going to go into what had happened, But the pain is, I still feel it, right? I'm still recovering. But guess what? I'm still determined to take every step forward that I could possibly take. I can't focus on the injured part because I'm a whole person. You are a whole person. So if you injure one part of your body, that doesn't prevent you from doing other things, then do the things that you can. Sometimes, I've been diagnosed many years ago with chronic pain. And there was a time in my life where I did let that diagnosis and the level of pain that I lived with, I'm talking about pain off the charts, okay? Every day. I did succumb to that because, I had medical professionals telling me that there were so many things I would never be able to do again. And for me being an avid runner when I was younger, no runner wants to hear you'll never run again. Just like no person who walks wants to hear you'll never walk again. For me, when I heard that was like taking my breath away because I was a runner. That was how I relieved stress. That's how that's what I did when I wanted to think. That was running just brought me joy. And yes, I also experienced runner's high when I did it, but it was the closest thing I could do to flying. So just imagine someone telling you that you could never do something that you really enjoy doing again. And then succumbing to that because you don't know anything else, right? At that time. But I guess I've always been a quite tenacious person, so I've been told. Right? And so I want to encourage you to have that same resolve, to believe in yourself more, to be determined, to keep making small steps forward no matter what. If I can do it, you can do it too. So, let's just stop any thinking that you may have right now of counting yourself out because it seems too hard. It seems too hard, too challenging, too difficult because you keep telling yourself that and you're believing the lie, which then leads to more procrastination. And the key is to not let procrastination ruin your life, right? You can make a better decision for yourself. So acknowledging the impact that procrastination has on your life is the first step forward. It's like anything else, when you recognize that there's an error or something's off balance and you want to correct it, you got to figure out the source of the problem in order to correct it, right? So acknowledge that you allowed procrastination to set in, right? Now we want to break that up because procrastination is just in your way of being your best you. And once you acknowledge that you've procrastinated on you being your best self, on you being healthy, on you making the financial change or whatever it is for you, because only you can change things. No one else. So whatever it is, you have to acknowledge it, right? Don't sit around and figure out why it happened. When did it change? If that's necessary for you to even know why it changed. For me, it was because I needed to say, okay, this happened, so that caused this, right? But if you just acknowledge that it's there and what you're trying to accomplish, that's the first step, right? Because only you can change you, and only you can change things for yourself. Now, I want to share with you the 3 things that I focused on to overcome every setback that I faced and every challenge that confronted me over the past several months. So get something to write this down with, because I want to make sure that you leave here with these 3 things today. All right. These things really helped me. These 3 key things I did and I continue to do and will continue to have a part of my process even when I'm back into the momentum of things at the level in which I was. So think about it. I'm off track and now I'm working to get back on track. When you get back on track, depending on how long you've been off, you don't start where you left off. It's like you're starting from almost the beginning again, right? Because our bodies and our things adjust and adapt to what life is, right? And so me being away from my regimen for so many months, oh my gosh, I'm starting not at the same level in which I was when I stopped, when I had the surgery. That's not how this works, right? So this is why these three things I'm going to give you is so significant that I want you to keep with you and consider them on your journey as often as you need to. I have recently gone through these. I continue to at every step because, when you start seeming like you're starting over again, right? Your head gets in the way and it's like, oh my gosh, here we go again, right? But you got to keep going forward. So hopefully you got something to write these down with. And here are the 3 mental resilience strategies to help you regain control of your journey in a meaningful way so you can make meaningful progress. All right. So the first one is to define what you truly want. Define what you truly want for yourself, not anybody else. Don't worry about what your spouse or your significant other is doing. Don't worry about what your children or your best friend or whoever else is around you is doing. What do you truly want for yourself? Very important to figure that out. We already know that you're not where you want to be. I already know I'm not where I want to be. So what is it that you truly want now? From this moment, what do you truly want? And reflect on your deepest desires. That's why, no disrespect to your spouse or the other people that you love that may be around you. But that can deter us from really reaching or acknowledging what our deeper desires are, right? When you're trying to consider someone else when it has to do with your health and your well-being, whether or not you go for the walk on the track, at least in my mind, I can't see how you have to consider someone else's thoughts on you taking care of you. That should be an automatic, I would think. So I don't know. People have different dynamics in their relationships, and I'm here to just encourage you to show up for yourself. So you work those things out, but really get honest with yourself on what you really want and reflect on your deepest desires, whether it's to lose weight, to enhance your health and fitness journey, or if it's to cultivate a more positive mindset about your life. Identifying your true goals is the first step to making a meaningful change. Because without knowing what it is you really want, you're going to start something and you're going to start. Then you're going to you're going to stop. Then you're going to start something else. Maybe your girlfriend had mentioned a diet or a routine that she's doing. Maybe she's working out with a coach. And then you're going to try that and then you're going to stop. So figure that out. Identify your true goals first. Okay? That's the first thing I did, is understand what I really wanted. Now, what I truly want, my desire has not changed. I always want to be my best self. I want to be better today than I was yesterday. And I want to be a better person tomorrow than I was today. I'm always striving to be more of me, to be a better version of myself. Okay. So that's one of the first strategies that I put into place and ask myself that question. I figure that part out first. The next thing I do is to understand why I want it, right? So, and this is why this is important. I have, throughout the years that I have been in my wellness journey and been a wellness mentor and mental resilience coach for women, is because when I meet women, whether it's at the gym or, through various mediums here, right? And they want to make change. They want to get in shape. They want to lose weight. The women want to lose weight. And I'll ask them, okay, now why do you want to lose weight? Oh, I want a small waistline, or I want a bigger butt, or I want to look good for the wedding. I'm going on a cruise and I want to wear a bikini. Now, I don't knock those things as goals, right? That's a good starting place. But I often find it interesting that when I dig a little deeper, when I start working with them, okay, let me just be clear. When I start working with them and we go a little deeper, it always ends up being more than the superficial answer they had begun with. But at least they understood that the end result was, a part of that was the physical achievement that they wanted for themselves, the physical result, right? But then it boils down to, I want to stop breathing heavy when I walk up the steps. I want my bones to stop hurting, right? I want to feel good when I look in the mirror. And so I would tell them then, depending on the situation, that maybe weight loss is not, it's a good goal. It's something good you want. But how about, instead of weight loss for this occasion, that we focus on being healthy? And being healthy includes weight loss, strengthening your body, renewing your mind, looking at things differently, right? The way that you have set your lifestyle up to see if your lifestyle is even healthy for the life that you say you want to live. We have to come to terms with those things. And so understanding your why beyond the superficial is really important. And once you've identified what you want, you delve into why you want it. What you want, why you want it. Your why serves as a powerful motivator when life throws things at you, when you're confronted with a setback, when life confronts you with a challenge that you didn't even know that you were equipped to deal with until it came. Those are tests that test us along the way, that come to try us along the way, to see how committed we are on the journey, to see if the very thing that you said you wanted, that better life, whatever that is for you, to see if you're really ready for that, right? I think life comes to test us, to test our resilience, to test our resolve, to test our maturity and commitment to be the better versions of ourselves, because that's who we really need to become to handle the life, the gifts, the things that we say that we want on the next level, should we stay the course to get there. So define what you truly want and understand why you want it beyond the superficial. Okay, dig deep for that. Like, when you figure out your why, it should really come from the heart, not the head. They should really be aligned and work together. So the next strategy, mental resilience strategy that I use, is being committed to showing up for yourself. See, the first two seem easy enough, right? Of course you know what you want. Of course you know why you want it. But are you committed to showing up for yourself? See, life will test your dedication. And there will be days when motivation is just not there, when you simply just don't feel like it. I'm 12 plus years into this, and there are some days in the morning I don't feel like it. Let's be honest here. The key is, because I have consistently shown up for myself throughout the years, when the thought of saying, oh my gosh, this bed feels so good, I just don't feel like getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, or 5:30 or 5, whatever it is, right? I'm always up in the 5 o'clock hour. All right. And sometimes that bed really feels good. And the thought creeps in, oh, I just don't feel like it. And that's okay. Because the discipline of me doing it over and over and over again, showing up for myself, staying the course for years after year after year, makes it easy for me to have the thought come into my mind of how good the bed feels and wanting to stay in the bed, but having the discipline to wake up, step out of bed, and get started with my day. And I'm going to say that with every grateful step, right? I do it so I can show up for myself to get closer to the result that I'm looking for, to get closer to the life I want to live. And that's the difference for when you're beginning. And sometimes those emotions come in, those thought emotions come in, and you just say, okay, 15, 20 more minutes. And then before you know it, the day is gone. You've neglected yourself. Remember, you're at the bottom of your to-do list again because you let those things come in. So are you committed to showing up for yourself? Life will test your dedication. You better believe it. Life is going to test your level of motivation. And to be honest, it don't even require, it's not even life. The people around you are going to test that. Because someone is going to call you and say, hey, it's okay if you miss a day. Oh, hey, come out and eat with us. Don't worry about that. You can eat the food that, that you're supposed to be eating, the healthy food, you can eat that later. Just come on. It's just one time. It won't hurt. So it's not just life. It's the people that you have around you who do not have the same goals for their health, right? That's going to test your motivation. And even though they know you're working on something, they don't believe you. They don't believe that. Because you've probably said it so many times before and fallen off track, and you've gone to brunch and dinners with them and you met them out for whatever type of dining event or occasion it has been, right? They've seen you fall off track before, so they're figuring, you're just going to do it again. You're just going through a phase. So be committed to showing up for yourself and develop strategies to stay on track. You have to set yourself up for success. And that's one of the reasons why I'm out here and I'm sharing this with you, is because you're not alone. You may not have anyone in your immediate circle who is interested in doing the things that you've done. Maybe you've put your health and your fitness off because no one in your immediate circle is interested in that. So you just kept delaying that so you can, do what they want to do. But you don't have to ignore yourself anymore, right? You have to be the change you want to see. And you have to be committed to showing up for yourself, and don't be concerned about who's going to go with you. I'm going to go with you. I don't have to be right next to you for you to know that I'm going to go forward with you, but I'm here with you. I'm your workout buddy. Okay? So you have one. Again, it may not be right there in person with you, but you have one in me and many other well-minded leaders out here who is prioritizing their health and wellness, not just to be healthy and in good shape, but they also know that it is part of being successful. It's a part of enjoying the fruits of your labor once you have achieved the level of success that you want for yourself. The worst thing you could do is acquire a level of wealth, and then you have to spend that to take care of your health and your well-being and your mental health because you're stressed out, you're sick from ignoring yourself and sacrificing yourself just to pursue more financial gain, to have to now spend it on trying to preserve what health you have left. We're not trying to live like that. You don't have to live like that. Okay? So you want to come up with a process that will help you stay the course, even when challenges rise. You should be a non-negotiable in your own life. Okay? So this commitment to yourself, it's crucial to lasting transformation, right? So, sister leader, I want you to remember that every step you take towards being a better you is a victory. So be encouraged on your journey. Have compassion for yourself and stay determined this time. Please stay determined this time. One day something happens, it doesn't go exactly as planned, don't give up on the whole program. That's just one day in life. Okay? You're far more powerful, more worthy than that. You can get back at it, get back to it. Okay? You're that important, hopefully, to yourself. All right? So being a well-minded leader means understanding that it's about progress, not perfection, that leads to lasting change. And I'm with you on this journey. I am here with you. I want you to be confident in knowing that as you go forward and taking care of your health and fitness, that I am here no matter where I am in the world. You can bet on the fact that I am also taking care of mine. So you're not alone. You are one in many well-minded sister leaders around the world who's taking themselves seriously, taking care of their health, which is your greatest asset, and making it a priority because you matter. All right. So make sure you have these things written down. All right. I'm going to say them again. Define what you really want. Understand why you want it, and commit to showing up for yourself. Put yourself on your calendar. Like, schedule it as you would an important business meeting with a client, or, as you would your a doctor's visit or something like that. Make it as important as you make other meetings and appointments important for your life. All right. So I also want to invite you to join the wait list for the next cycle of the 30-day Step Into Your Best Self Walk to Wellness Challenge. Now, this is something that I will launch periodically to encourage more of you to get active in your life. Walking is a form of exercise that we all can do. Many of us can do every day and just work it into our daily lives, right? It doesn't necessarily require much equipment, even though I do encourage you want to have the proper shoes and the proper attire when you're walking, right? And walk in a safe place. If you're walking outside of, if you're not going to the gym, or if you don't have a treadmill in your home and office, that, you walk and say things. So those are few of the required essentials that are needed, but, join the next cycle, get on the wait list. And when we get started again, you can partake with us and come on and join us. I will tell you that just because I start a cycle, when that 30 days is over, I continue. The key is to continue, right? So sometimes you have people join the cycle again because they started on cycle 1, they're continuing on every cycle, they just don't give up. Or if it's an opportunity where you may have gotten off track for like a week, and then we launch another Walk to Wellness cycle, then hey, you're doing it with a bunch of us to help you get that momentum back again. So go ahead. I want to invite you to join that wait list, to join the next cycle with us and pick up the momentum. Like I said, you're not out here on this journey by yourself. You have other well-minded sister leaders from around the world who are joining this journey as well, and taking care of their health and their health and their fitness. Okay. So this program is designed to empower well-minded leaders worldwide to take an active role in their health and wellness journey and becoming brain, body fit leaders together. Right. Exercise, eating the right food, all have a huge impact on our mental health, our mental and our physical health. So, you can find the link to the wait list in the description. I also would love to hear from you about your takeaways from this episode. So please leave a comment and share any insights or reflections that you've taken away from today, and that will inspire you on your journey. So, sister leader, I want you to remember that every small step you make towards being a better you is a victory. So let's embark on this journey together and become well-minded leaders that we are destined to be. I'm truly honored to walk this journey with you. I know I say that, and I really mean that from my heart. I'm truly honored to walk this journey with you because staying connected to like minded people who are going forward to be the better version of themselves helps motivate, empower, and encourage each of us to keep going further, to keep showing up. And I hope that you will also stay connected and keep showing up and join us next week as we continue to prioritize our wellness together. So until next time, let's soar higher together.